Hello to everybody. I realized that I just came from, both Michelle and I came from a 3 day couples course in which I talked more than I've talked in the last 6 months. And so this morning I can feel my throat is just a little, so we'll just see how we do today. And so, um, what was from the explorations this weekend, which were so fun. It was really the most wonderful couples course ever, which was very exciting. Just very um, couples who were clearly committed to each other, and I mean, it was really. And we just improvised all weekend. It was very fun. But the heart of it at the end of the weekend that I got was, and I think it's true for all of us because we're all in relationship with each other all the time, really from birth to death. And that the heart of it is our willingness to turn toward. So, for me also, a loop of awareness really what's at the heart or the foundation of the intention of loop of awareness is turning toward. So I'm actually giving my attention first. I think we turn toward ourselves less than we turn toward others. But that moment where we go, that, oh, this can't be happening, or I don't like this, or something should be different. And we turn away instead of turning toward what's actually occurring. And in that moment of turning toward, the flow of love, the flow of attention can reweave anything that's anything that any emotions, any sense of being separate, of being disconnected. And that my sense is the biggest gift that we can give to ourselves and others is to use our attention to connect. And so I want to invite you to let your attention turn toward sensations that are going on in your own body right now. And what's the act of turning toward you? Because the this is also so similar to facing in FACT of what do you do instead of turning towards yourself? So one of the things that occurs to me is I override. So I might have something. So I see you touching your shoulder, Sabula. So if I have that coming up, I just kind of go, okay, push through. If I'm not, so that's one way of not turning toward is just to override or to jump over or to say, I'll pay attention to that later, and I'll just, I'll turn toward something exciting out there, or I'm going to turn toward the refrigerator. But what if you turn toward yourself with the word that's coming to me is welcoming. So what if instead of what's wrong now, which is how we often turn toward ourselves, or what have you done now, or stop that, if we turn toward with welcoming. So what's a welcoming way of using your attention? And I realize that when we turn out, we often let our attention come through our eyes. So when you turn towards yourself and inside, it like how can you open your inner eye, your inner sensing? For me, turning toward myself is a vibratory experience. And I realize as I'm speaking to you and I'm turning toward myself, what I'm feeling is that the vibrations in my throat, you can probably hear it. My vibrations are a little lower. My voice is a little lower because, it's been used and the air is a little lower in my tires right now. So I can hear that kind of more lower voice. But it's cool when I'm welcoming it. I'm kind of going, okay, where is it vibrating? Where does it want to go? And it turns into discovery. So I'd love for you to welcome the sensations that are going on in you, letting yourself turn toward them, and then just noticing how does your body want to respond to welcoming the turning towards yourself. And even as I'm doing that, I can feel little, it's like little sparks of wake up. Like, waking up, little, like little Cilia waking up and going, oh, oh, okay, oh, party's going on. I thought we were asleep, but there's a party going on. And it turns your attention to connecting, opening up to connection. And then as you turn your attention outward, let it come from your whole body. So let it come from someplace other than your eyes. You can let it flow through your eyes, but what if it came from your heart? What if it came from your low belly? What if it came from your hips where you're getting your own dance moves going and then letting that attention come out into the world? Can be out into other folks on the call and then back into you. And the whole experience of turning toward, because there's just so much that pulls us, pulls us in the direction of loud noise, or oh, something fell over, or because we're really wired up for what's wrong. And so if we use our welcoming loop of awareness, what I experience is this weaving. There's this weaving of attention that allows me to actually feel connected. And I'm imagining that what's going on for so many people right now is feeling disconnected, and that you're on your own, or you're by yourself, or there's so much going on, the overwhelmingness of it. And as I welcome and I turn toward, I get the next steps in my, what wants to happen now? So as you turn your attention toward you and you're welcoming those sensations, add in the, what wants to happen now? So often we land, and it's like, okay, and then the connection stops. So if we add in, and what wants to happen now, because our welcoming and our turning our attention creates flow. And I think for a lot of us, what can go on right now is the heaviness, the heaviness of grief, the stopping of, I love, Deborah, that we've got animal companions here. I just love it. We have our animal companions, and Sherry, this is wonderful, because when I get up in the morning and I open the door, because Gay gets up earlier than I do, so he ushers Allie out. So when I open the door, Allie rushes in, like, what's happened when I've been gone, and are you still alive, and are there any intruders? And then and then she relaxes, and so she's on her pillow right now. We have this heated pillow that we got for her, and it took her a month to get acquainted with it. She ignored it for a month. She'd go around and I sprinkled a little bit of catnip on it one morning, and just at the time she was going by, and so she caught a whiff of it, and she climbed on her pillow, and now it's her pillow. And it's lightly heated, and it's this beautiful therapeutic pillow. And so for me, when I think of that, that's a demonstration of welcoming. So it's a sensory, an opening, a welcoming, and when I add in, what wants to happen now, I get to act from flow rather than acting from stuck. And so in the big stuck flow that, is going on from second to second in our lives right now, if I if I shift to turning toward and welcoming, and then what wants to happen now, that's a cool sequence that we could play with this week, of turning toward, welcoming, and now what wants to happen. And that, just in coming to that, I'll forget, we'll go into default. And then any one of those, welcoming, turning toward, ooh, and now what wants to happen, returns us to flow. And in my experience, flow, if I'm favoring flow rather than favoring density, then I'm participating in co-creating the what wants to happen now. And from my experience of all of these disparate, people came from UK and, to the couples course this weekend. a small and wonderful group who were completely available. And what I realized too, I was just sharing with Michelle, is that we were inventing new ways of playing in relationship. So we weren't doing the same old fundamental, see your partner as an ally instead of being stuck. So we were exploring in different realms, and it gave me some confidence that we humans might be able to make our way out of this current morass. And so I left the weekend feeling like that we can improvise our way through. So and that's what I was just doing with you this morning, is improvising. And when we're available, all of us are available to turn toward and welcoming and what wants to happen now. That's a wonderful recipe for creating all kinds of new connections. So thanks for co-creating that with me this morning. And let's take a look at our card that popped out at me to choose for today. It's very connected to what we've just been exploring. And I noticed, I didn't realize this before, so there's a couple on the front of this. So, of course, that was what I was gravitating toward. And I love the little critters on the bottom. That is definitely, this is like Allie coming through the door here, like, what's going on? What's going on? What are we doing? What's happening here? And so I'd love for you to let your attention flow into this, turning toward it, letting yourself welcome whatever you're seeing, and then, what's happening next in here, and then using that to turn toward you and turning toward and welcoming and what wants to happen next. So letting yourself do that while I read first the sentence here. I physically turn fully toward others with open posture and breath, so I can sense how my communications are being received. So the other part of that is I'm turning toward and I'm connecting, but how do I know if I'm actually being received? Oh, my cat. My cat is yowling from the other room. And I have a sense that there's a cat outside the door that she is confronting. So I'm not going to run in there unless this turns a little bit more. But there was a little, like, I got distracted from yowling, which our cat doesn't do. So I physically turn fully toward others with open posture and breath, so I can sense how my communications are being received. So I might be having a real party over here, but if I'm not really turning toward with open posture and breath and landing over there to check, oh, how am I being received? Then I'm not really making use of that flow of connection. So here's the question. In what ways can I give active awareness to how my communications are landing with others? So for me, the aspect of conscious communication is, I'm doing my best to communicate something clearly. But if I'm not actually checking, how will I know if it's being received? And if I'm turning toward and opening my posture, welcoming and checking what wants to happen next, excuse me, big cough. so, so come on back to the group. My voice is saying, you got about 5 more minutes, and then no more talking for a while. So, oh, So, fortunately, I think I've got the gist of things that I want to share with you today. So, let me just move over here to Presence Connect Play and see what that has to offer to us. Wonderful. Present says, give yourself a drop of love. So, I'm going to take a drop of love and apply it right in here. And I invite you to put drops of love anywhere, also in the space around you. So, first, physically, any drops of love that you want. And then drops of love for others. So, I have our friend Jody is getting ready to go off to Japan today. And so, I'm going to send her a few drops of love. She's waiting in the lounge right now. And little drops of love that everything flows easily and smoothly and in a friendly and safe way. So drops of love. We often think, I got to do a big deal. I have to really shift everything. I have to make sure everything is lovable. I can't have any stuck places. But often it's just a drop of love. Like on our kitchen door, we have a squeaky door. And what it needs is drops. It doesn't need to be drenched. It needs drops of love. And so often, just if we have a little squeaky place, it just needs a drop of love. It doesn't need a whole shower of love, although that's great too. But often, just a drop of love is enough to presence yourself again. And also, I'm again thinking of presence as a verb. So presence and presencing yourself. So I'm on a campaign to have presencing replace get present, because get present and stay present is impossible. But presencing we can move into anytime. Connect. Another one for a good one for my throat. Connect is create. So you're there's more and more research about the power of to regulate our nervous systems, and shifts us from reactive brain to critical brain to wonder brain. It also allows us to connect our brains and connect our head brain with our body brain. So is a wonderful way to circulate your drops of love. And then play goes very nicely with what we were just exploring, is mirror the other with your body. So if you're with friends, you can really let yourself do that big time. And when I'm moving around in the world, I let myself do that in a more subtle way. I sort of do micro mirroring. We have micro doses that everybody's wild about right now, but how about micro mirroring? So I'm just getting a sense of how you're experiencing the world by doing just a little micro mirroring. And then I'm adding that into my connecting. I'm adding that into my mirroring with you. And then that opens up more welcoming, turning toward, seeing what wants to happen. So I love how all of our exploration today goes together in our intention to turn toward and welcome. And I'm going to just say thank you all for being here, because it's just about where I can't think. And so I'm going to go have some warm water now. And thank you all for being here. And much love to you. And mwah, until next time. Bye now.